Hey guys, Thrasher here. Today I want to talk about equipment, where to get it, who should use which equipment items, how the stats work, how the slots work, how to upgrade the equipment. We're going to go through everything and you're going to know exactly what you need to do by the end of this video. So let's get into it. So first things first, there are 4 equipment items in the game. This one in the bottom right here, you get one of, and it comes from the story mode. So you'll just get one as you go through the story. The rest of these come from the Raditz Attack story event mission, and we'll go into that right now so you can see where to farm these at. The best option to farm those equipment items is in EX5 or Extreme 5 in Raditz Attacks. If you can't do EX5, don't worry, because all 3 of these also drop from EX2. The only reason that I suggest EX5 is because it gives a lot more experience. So if your characters are not max level, that's the best option for you, but this drops all of the equipment as well. Now, the other thing you want to take note of is your characters only start with 1 equipment slot. So if I go back to my characters and I try to change my equipment on these guys, what you'll notice is that some of these guys have 2 slots and some of them have 1. That's because these guys have been classed up twice, and after you class them up twice, they get their second slot. These guys have not been classed up twice. He's been classed up once, and these 2 have not been classed up. So the other thing I'm going to do is tell you the order in which you should add these equipment items. And I think the next thing we should do is throw up the infographic so you can kind of see the stats and what each item actually does. So here they are. Okay, so as you'll see, the first one is the Let's Hold 'em Back. It's got base health, which can roll from 2.5 to 7.5%. And I'm not going to go through all of these. You can read them yourself. But essentially what you're going to see is the red numbers is the range that it can roll from, so 2.5 to 7.5, and then the blue number is my recommended value. So what's going to happen is each one of these items, when you get them, they're only going to have that top stat. So for Let's Hold 'em Back, it'll be base health. For Know You're Gonna Die, it's going to be base blast defense, and so on. What you'll have to do is pay Zenny and souls to open those other slots, which is why this blue value is on the right. Essentially what that blue value says is if you happen to get a Let's Hold 'em Back equipment that drops and it doesn't have at least a 6.2%, I would not spend the Zenny to try and open that next slot to see if it's any good. And that's just because based on probabilities, it's not worth wasting all your money on anything lower than that. Now, if you're a min-maxer and you need to have absolute perfect, don't even roll on it unless it's 7.5, but you're going to be rolling for a long time because all these values roll independently. So if you roll a base health of 7.5% on Let's Hold 'em Back, that doesn't mean you're going to get a 7.5 on the other 2, so keep that in mind. The next thing that you want to keep in mind is when you are rolling these, the bronze Let's Hold 'em Back bronze class is cheaper to roll than the silver classes. That's just something that's a little bit different. Keep that in mind. And then the last thing that really matters, if we go back to these characters, is because there's only one out of the way, which is the little tractor guy that you see right here, this little tractor here. There's going to be some there's going to be certain requirements for what items you're going to put, or which equipment you're going to put on which characters. So here's the general rule of thumb. This right here, the Let's Hold 'em Back, goes on every character. First slot, no matter who you're using. Okay? And then this guy right here, there's nothing to say, will go on any Saiyan. Okay? So if you're fighting with Vegeta, Super Saiyan Goku, Shallot, the Extreme Goku, any Saiyan character, they'll use these 2. And then your third slot, or if you have someone who's not a Saiyan, you will use this item, the Let's Hold 'em Back. And if it's Piccolo, you're actually going to use the Know You're Gonna Die, which is the equipment that has Piccolo's face on it. Anyone other than Piccolo, you'll use this one out of the way. So if you happen to be using 2 fighters who are not Saiyan and they're not Piccolo, one of those 2 fighters will only be able to use 1 equipment item, and that's just because of the equipment items and the requirements that are in the game right now, because you can only use this item if you're a Saiyan. And other than that, I think that's pretty much all there is to equipment. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Let me know what you want to see in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.